It is the wild, wild west right now in terms of NFL free agency, as it always is. Lots of surprises. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I am bewildered that Kirk Cousins left the Vikings and sided with the Falcons. That one is a major shock to me.
Yeah, that was kind of the question we were going back and forth
Yeah.
over a couple weeks ago. And, I had the Vikings taking J.J. McCarthy in the draft. And
That looks
Kirk,
a little bit more likely now.
well, but I thought Kirk would serve as a nice mentor to
Yeah.
him, but evidently not now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like this move at all for the Vikings because even if they were to draft JJ, he is not ready day
No,
one.
no, absolutely not.
I would be even more bewildered than I am now if JJ comes out and balls for his first season. He is just so raw. Everyone is getting so high on him, just like they got high on Mitch Trubisky in the 2016 draft or whatever it was. He's not ready. Maybe in a couple years, sitting behind Geno Smith, maybe I thought he would sit behind Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, but clearly I don't know what they're going to do at Minnesota. I don't know what their quarterback plan is because it certainly isn't going to be Nick Mullins, not Jaron Hall, who we saw start last year. But we'll get into that. This episode, we are going to focus on all of the major NFL signings, trades, etc., all the free agency action that has occurred so far. I'm sure next week we'll have some more to add on to it, in addition to some March Madness bracket action.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this will probably be a little bit of a shorter pod just to go over what has transpired so far. Starting with Jerry Jeudy, the Denver receiver, traded to the Browns for a 5th and a 6th round pick. I don't think Jerry Jeudy's very good. He's proved that he's just not very productive in Denver. I know he's had a lot of different quarterbacks, but I think he's a little bit of a bust from the perspective that he was drafted, I think, in the 1st or 2nd round back in, 2019 or 2020, and he has not lived up to it in the slightest.
Yeah, now the Broncos are just selling him for a measly little 5th and 6th round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's
nothing.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting what's happened with the Broncos the last couple of years. They made some horrible moves. I mean, with Russell Wilson and all that. Although I am a little bit of a defender of him, and we'll get to that.
But I do think that this could be a good move for the Browns, though. I mean, they need some receiver talent.
I mean, maybe they'll have a
outside of
resurgency.
Amari. Yeah, and Jerry Jeudy. I'm not saying that he's an elite talent, but I mean he's serviceable. I mean, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, he could be okay. I just wish that he showed more in Denver for me to get on board. I mean, maybe he'll come out and ball.
Yeah,
But he just didn't show much to me at all.
right. Makes sense.
The Patriots. Oh, what were you going to say?
No, never mind. Go ahead.
This one was another surprise to me. I really can't believe that Mac Jones, who was literally in Trevor Lawrence's draft class, so they're the same age, they came out at the same time, same draft, 1st round quarterback picks. Mac Jones now going to be the Jaguars' backup, 6th round pick. Clearly now we can label Mac Jones as a bust. I'm sorry. I mean, this is both, people are going to call me an Alabama hater because both Jerry Jeudy and Mac Jones went to Alabama. But actually, did Jerry Jeudy go to Oklahoma? No, I'm pretty sure it was Alabama. Pretty sure it was Alabama. Yes, it was. Yeah. So maybe call me an Alabama hater, but it's because they're always surrounded with so much talent there. It's hard to evaluate these players because they're held up by so many other good players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Mac Jones throwing to Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, phenomenal talents. Jerry Jeudy thrown to by Tua, and going up against some weak corners and some weak defenses throughout his college career. But yeah, I mean, Mac Jones had some promise. He had some good games. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he brought the Patriots to the playoffs in his rookie year. Some crazy stuff happened. I mean, I'm surprised that they honestly had so much success early on with him, but he's not looked good as of late. But I think this is the right ingredient to add to the Jacksonville QB room to spur Trevor Lawrence development along, because he hasn't lived up to what he should have been either as the number 1 pick. But obviously a lot better than Mac Jones. I don't think he'll feel threatened by Mac Jones, but it might be just enough to spur him along to get a little bit better, feel kind of a little bit more pressure. And I think it's healthy to kind of have that, force pushing him to get better.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and I don't think it's unfair to say that Mac Jones is a bust.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely is. Jerry Jeudy, maybe you could make a little bit more of a case because receiver taken a little bit later, but Mac Jones, I mean, what was he taken at, like 13 in the first round, he's a
Something like
bust,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a little later. I think Justin Fields might have been like 11 or something, but whatever.
But yeah, so now the Patriots will be rolling with Bailey Zappi as probably their backup, and assuming that they will trade for or draft.
They're going to draft somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to draft. I think you had them drafting Drake May.
And you had Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. I have them drafting Jaden Daniels, but I could see them going with Drake May. I could see Drake May falling to them because of what we were talking about. Everyone's gotten so hot on Jaden Daniels, which not quite as egregious as J.J. McCarthy, but I also think that is a little bit overzealous. But this quarterback class has really fallen from grace. I mean, if we look back on it, this was the same quarterback class as Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. Absolutely disgusting.
Yikes.
You know, of course, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. So kind of crazy to say Justin Fields is the second best quarterback out of that class, but that's not really saying all that much.
Yeah, no, that is fair. Moving into the next signing, which isn't much of a surprise, but the Buccaneers signed Baker to a 3-year contract here. I am a little bit surprised that it's 3 years. I kind of thought it was just going to be more of like a year-by-year kind of thing, like just maybe like, like a 1-year extension.
I mean, you have to reward him for playing as well as he did. He would leave if they were just offering him a one-term deal. There would be another team out there that would give him some more time, some more commitment than that.
That makes sense.
$100 million, 3 years. I think it's pretty solid for both sides here.
Yeah, that's
not the highest paid quarterback, and obviously for the Bucs here, they get somebody who's already proved they can work with the receivers, work with the staff. It's phenomenal that Mike Evans is staying there, countering that Kirk Cousins went to Atlanta. You know, maybe you think, oh, the Bucs lose Mike Evans, maybe they shouldn't win the division, but hey, they're retaining a lot of people. If they retain Antoine Winfield as well, I think they still have a really good shot to win the division. But yeah, I mean, for Baker here, really happy to see his career turn around. I thought he should have been the comeback player of the year, as we talked about a few weeks ago. But yeah, happy about this and just happy for both sides here. I think it was a fair deal all around.
Yeah, just a good payout here for him. Nothing, like you said, nothing too egregious, nothing too much, but yeah, just kind of a fitting little deal for him.
For sure. I love this one here. Well, actually, I love both of these next ones here. Russell Wilson planning to sign with the Steelers. This is phenomenal. The Russell Wilson hate that's going around right now is mind-boggling to me because the dude still threw up 26 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. He brought them back to playoff contention, and then they bailed on him when they still had like a 40% chance to make the playoffs in week 16. And yet everyone's dogging on him. I know he's got paid an absolute boatload. You know, he got this big mansion where he's got like all these butlers. He's got like 3 parking spots, something crazy like that. You know, he's a little disingenuous. The teammates don't like him, all that stuff. But just a few years ago, everyone voted on him to be like the second best player in the league behind Lamar Jackson. I think it was 2019. He was voted the second best player in the entire league by his peers. And it's way, way too overreactionary to say that he's a backup now or he's washed. He's still put up productive numbers. I mean, Denver is not the most offensively talented team in the league. I mean, we have Jerry Jeudy that we're talking about here. They don't have the best running game in the world. And there's been a lot of just miscues going on there with their coaching staff from last year with Nathaniel Hackett and all that. So I hate that everyone's been dogging on him so much. I think it's completely unwarranted. Not to say that he isn't a little bit to blame, but this is a huge sign for the Steelers. If they can make the playoffs with Mason Rudolph, they certainly can with Russell Wilson. I think they could have even been the Bills if they had Russell Wilson throwing the ball to, I mean, they have talented receivers, George Pickens, Dante Johnson, and all that. So I really like this signing. He's getting paid by basically the Broncos to now play in Pittsburgh. So not a great look for the Broncos because they'll probably run into each other at some point here, and that'll most definitely be a primetime game. Would not be surprised at all if that's your Sunday or Monday night game. Maybe, I don't think it'll be a Thursday night game. It's better than that. I mean, that just has drama written all over it.
It does, yeah. So obviously the Broncos was not necessarily Russell's home. Like, he didn't really thrive there in the same way that he did at Seattle, but that doesn't mean that he's washed, you know? Like, he certainly can move over here to...
It's going to happen, dude. They both finished in third in their division, didn't they?
I think so.
That's crazy. I hate to interrupt, but my mind exploded there.
No, that would be crazy.
NFL is rigged, man. It's scripted. You can't write anything better than that.
That is so saucy.
Continue.
Well, yeah, kind of lost my train of
sorry.
thought. No, it's
sorry,
okay.
Dude.
What was I going to say? Yeah, probably just like, now he's got a chance to not necessarily win comeback player of the year because he wasn't really like out of it, but like he could get back to the quality or the caliber quarterback that he was when he was on Seattle, and everyone really respected him and thought he was, number 2 player in the league.
Right.
Maybe he'll be that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever get back to where he was, 5-6 years ago. But
it's possible he does better than he did in Denver.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's very likely. And it actually doesn't even matter that they both finished in third. They just faced the AFC West anyways, and they faced them away.
Okay.
So, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We're in
That's
for a
crazy.
good matchup, bro.
I love that. That's just like Jared Goff and Matt Stafford.
So cute.
I remember when Russell Wilson started his first game in Denver, they made it like Monday Night Football week 1 against the Seahawks. And that's when the Seahawks actually came in and beat them. And that's when things were going to go bad.
Oh, yeah.
Who would have ever thought that Geno Smith would have come in and been better with the Seattle Seahawks
that was
than
wild.
Russell with Broncos. But it'll be the other way around here. Guaranteed that will be a primetime game for sure.
So I wonder what the Broncos are going to do at QB then.
They're drafting somebody. Could be JJ, could be Bo Nix. I think it's more likely to be Bo Nix or maybe even Michael Penix.
Would love to see it.
The Bears signed DeAndre Swift to a 3-year, $24 million deal. I love this for the Bears. I am not bought into any of the running backs they have currently. Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert have dealt with injuries. They have not been uber productive. They've been solid and they've been efficient, but in terms of just season-long numbers, they have not been great. Whereas DeAndre Swift has been kind of lightly used, not very much so injured. So I think he's got a lot of juice left. I really like this for the Bears.
I think he's had a few more injuries than you might recall.
You're right. But
he's certainly better talent-wise than Khalil Herbert or Roshan Johnson.
He was healthy all this year.
Yeah. This year was a good year for him, but like the year before that when he was
banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he was on your fantasy team. That's probably why you remember that. Yeah.
It is, dude. I'm still
you say that with some vitriol in your voice. Like, he was injured.
Dude, I do, yeah.
That little piece of shit. But no, I like this for the Bears. I do. The Titans signed another running back, Tony Pollard, 3-year, also $24 million deal. I would say that DeAndre is maybe a little bit better than Tony, but they are pretty comparable. I think this is good. That obviously means Derrick Henry's going somewhere else. And we already saw the Eagles replace their running back, so we'll see, where Derrick Henry goes here. But this is a fine move here. We know that Tajay Spears is not going to be the main guy there anyways. But
I'm just curious.
Who the Cowboys?
Yeah, exactly. I'm so curious because they unload Zeke.
Is it gonna be Rico Dowdle?
Nah, dude.
Rico was solid. Though.
He's solid, but he is not a star running back.
No one thought that about Tony Pollard when he was in a similar position behind Zeke. A while back.
That's true. It's just weird. So was it a year ago or 2 years ago that the Cowboys unloaded Zeke?
It was just last year because they went to the Patriots.
See, that's kind of wild to me. They unload Zeke in year 0, and then year 1, then they unload Pollard, and now they...
Yeah, Pollard just did not live up to what... He was way better as a running back, too.
Yeah, he went 13 weeks without, he had a touchdown week 1, and then I think he had 13 weeks without one or something like that, which is ridiculous.
He was not great.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably time to move off of him, and maybe they'll probably draft somebody at this point. It kind of feels like it's going that way. Or, hey, maybe they're going to get Derrick Henry.
No, that would be wild. I don't think that will happen, though.
Yeah, it would feel weird
for
them, but... It wouldn't have to be a trade just because Derrick Henry is a free agent. So it still could happen.
It could.
Jaguars signed Gabe Davis to a 3-year, $39 million deal.
I got to say, before you jump in, $39 million feels like too much
that
for
is
Gabe
a lot.
Davis.
To be that much more than these running backs
Yeah,
here?
DeAndre Swift, $24 million, and he was he was the star running back on the Lions for a good bit.
Oh,
and, he had a good season this past year in Philly.
For sure.
For Gabe Davis, who put up 0 fantasy points, after playing in the game probably 4 weeks of this season, how is he worth $15 million more than DeAndre Swift? That feels wacky to me.
Yeah, I don't love this signing. It does feel like the Jaguars will cut Calvin Ridley, but I don't think Gabe Davis is the solution to all your problems.
No.
I mean, he feels like a number 2. Christian Kirk's kind of a number 2. So it still feels like they need another receiver.
I mean, I'd rather have Ridley than Gabe Davis, to be honest with you. I'd
Yeah,
rather
I
give
would
Ridley
too.
some more time.
I would too, but they're going to cut him because of it would incur some serious monetary penalties if they keep him on. But we'll see what they end up doing. The Packers signed Josh Jacobs and release Aaron Jones. This one feels a little weird to me. Aaron Jones was a lot more productive when he was healthy this year than Josh Jacobs was. Aaron Jones coming off that injury was an absolute beast. I mean,
maybe
he shredded the Cowboys and the Niners.
Maybe they're just worried about these injuries, though. I mean, he has not been healthiest historically.
I understand that, but Josh Jacobs has dealt with some injuries too, and he just has not been very flashy. The year before this past year, he was pretty solid, but once he got paid, he wasn't really anything too special this year. I mean, Zamir White came in a lot for the Raiders and played pretty well. But Aaron Jones, I mean, he was just lethal the final few weeks of the season and was great in the playoffs. So it's just a little hard to let him go after that. But I think it saves them some money and they get a little bit younger and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of recency bias there because, like, I do agree with you that he did do very well in those last few weeks in the playoffs. But, like, the rest of the season was not his best. And
I mean, he was injured.
I mean, he was battling an injury. I think he was out for maybe the first 4 weeks, or not the first 4.
Longer than that.
Well, it was. He got injured in the first game with the Bears. He tore his hamstring.
Yeah.
I think he was out for 3 weeks, and he played a little bit in week 5.
Tried to play a little bit, but
and then he was out a little bit.
He wasn't
longer.
like 100% until they played like the Panthers later on in the year.
Yeah, but then
like week 15.
I mean, okay. I just even like that week like 8 through 15 though. I didn't think was like that special.
Well, I think he missed a lot of time in that space there. I mean, we'll have to look back at it, but I like this one for wherever Aaron Jones goes.
Do you? I think Josh Jacobs' stock is going to go up a lot here because like the Packers really emerged. I mean, I honestly think that Jacobs is more talented than Aaron Jones.
I mean, it just might be because of his age. He's younger.
Right.
But I don't love this. I really don't.
No?
I don't think Josh Jacobs is all that good.
I mean, he's been dealing with the O-line of the Raiders. I think that could be a contributing factor here.
I mean,
and like 2 years ago, like the Raiders were a little bit better, and like he had this number 1 running back season.
We'll see.
Okay,
we'll see. We'll have to put some futures on some of these bets.
That would be cool. Yeah,
one that we don't have on our little list here, but Michael Pittman got signed to like a big.
Was it with the Colts though?
Yeah, at the Colts.
I just figured we didn't want to.
Yeah, because he stayed with the same team.
Right.
But
although I did.
I know you had the Colts drafting a receiver. So
that's right. Well, you didn't like that pick though.
No, not at all. And this, because they invested so much money in Michael Pittman, makes me feel like they're probably not going to draft anybody.
Was it a 3-year deal?
I think so. Yeah, everyone's kind of liking those 3-year deals this year.
Yeah.
Here's the big one. The reason why we're making a video today.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins agrees to a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Falcons. Like I opened the show with, very surprising to me. I really thought he would stay in Minnesota, but it does seem like he kind of chased the bag here. I mean, this is a humongo contract for somebody at his age. I mean, that's $60 million a year. No. It's
45.
$45 million a year.
Still a big deal, though. I mean, Josh Allen, like it's like $50 million a year.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's huge. I'm sure it's not all guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I really felt like he was going to stay there. I mean, Justin Jefferson was petitioning for him to stay there. Kirk seemed like he wanted to stay there. They seem to support him. The fans love him. He's just a nice guy to root for. But, hey, this is big for the Falcons. I think he'll be successful there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, there is nobody you're going to be throwing to that's better than Justin Jefferson.
That's
so
true.
anything is going to be a decline in talent. So that's what I worry about with this. I mean, Drake London is a fraction of what Justin Jefferson is.
Dude, not even close.
I mean, Kyle Pitts has barely shown any more, I mean, Kyle Pitts, I think, is worse than TJ Hawkinson. I mean, he might be more phically gifted, but TJ Hawkinson is way more productive than Kyle Pitts. I mean, the only thing that's better, I'd say, is their running back, Bijan Robinson.
Yep.
I mean, their defenses are pretty similar. So, I don't know, man, about this one in terms of how it's going to pan out.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy Kirk Cousins got paid, and it'll be a nice way to kind of end his career. But I don't know. If I'm a quarterback, I don't really want to go to the Falcons. It just doesn't seem like the place I want to play, especially with that defensive head coach, Raheem Morris, that they brought in, who's already proved that he's unsuccessful as a head coach, only with like a 36 win percentage, 23-44 or something like that. It's right around there. So I don't love this for Kirk, but I mean, I'm sure he's feeling pretty good about the money he's getting paid.
He has to. So it seems like you're more surprised that the Vikings relinquished him. But
for sure.
I'm more surprised that he went to Atlanta because all of the talk was that Atlanta was going to sign Justin Fields or trade for Justin Fields rather. And so
now where's Justin going to go?
Dude, that's the real question.
They're not going to trade him to a divisional rival. They're not going to trade him to Minnesota now.
No,
if that's what people think.
I wouldn't think that would happen. I have no idea what's going to happen now.
Justin
because
Fields is probably like absolutely in shambles right
dude,
now.
He
I mean, he started following
exactly
Atlanta
that was
players on his Insta.
Dude, that was my point here. I was like, well, he unfollowed the Bears, started following Falcons players. Everyone thought he's going to the Falcons, and then Falcons come out with this surprising move.
Yeah,
what does that mean for Justin?
People thought he could also go to the Steelers, and they took on Russell Wilson. So where could he go?
Dude, that almost
honestly feels like Broncos now. Does it feel like Broncos?
I mean, yeah, it could. It gives me a little bit of hesitancies because I'm just hoping that the Bears don't decide to trade, the first pick and then keep Justin on again. I mean, because we don't know what's going to happen with that. I think it would be foolish to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely throws a wrench in their plan if they were thinking about trading him to the Falcons. But
for sure.
I, as a Falcon fan, would prefer to have Kirk Cousins over Justin Fields. It's close. Kirk Cousins is obviously a lot older than Justin Fields, but he's proved to be a lot more productive than Justin so far. But yeah, it'll be very interesting now to see what all pans out because this was a huge surprise that nobody saw coming at all. Everyone just thought the two best quarterbacks on the market, Baker and Kirk, are just going to go back to their respective teams.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson will go to like the Patriots or the Steelers or some kind of crap team like that. And then everyone else is just going to draft one. Well, now that's completely thrown out the window. Right. So exciting times. Eagles signed Saquon Barkley.
Saquizler, I love it.
To the 3-year, $37.5 million deal. So proving that he is $13.5 million more valuable than DeAndre Swift.
But still less valuable than Gabe Davis, which is ridiculous. I mean, other than his injuries, I mean, Saquon is still one of the very talented backs in the league.
Yeah, this is big time for the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're always out here making very innovative moves. Just stealing them from a divisional rival. That's got to sting if you're a Giants fan. Yeah. Because they just let him go. He was a free agent. This was not a trade. Because trust me, if it was, it would not have happened. They would not trade him to a divisional rival like this.
Right.
But yeah, I think this will be good. They had to replace DeAndre Swift, and I think they honestly probably upgraded here.
I would have to agree.
Even though they are paying quite a bit more money out, I do think it's an upgrade. I think it'll pay off in the long run. And good for Saquon. I think he'll be happier in a place where he knows he can win, unlike the Giants.
Right. Yeah, I mean, now the Giants, who do they have left, bro? They don't have any talent on that team. They're one player who is like kind of
concerned,
You know how like the NFL will always like put up like when it's two players going head to head or two teams, it's
put
like
the star of the player.
Exactly. Like who are they going to put
It's going to be
now?
Isaiah Hodgkins. It's going to be like their kicker, Graham Conell.
Dude, exactly. Like, because Saquon was
going to put Tommy DeVito, honestly. It doesn't even matter if he's like third string quarterback.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. Because Saquon was always the face of their team, and now they have no one left.
Yeah, if I'm Danny Jones right now, I'm freaking out. Like, I ain't got nobody. Dude. I'm really screwed.
I would agree. The Giants must have to have a legacy draft here. Just absolutely feast.
For real. They do. All right. Austin Ekeler signs 2-year deal with the Commanders. This is interesting to me because the Commanders have a good running back room with Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson Jr., right?
Yeah.
B-Rob.
Yeah.
The other B-Rob, not Bijan.
Yes,
but Brian.
correct.
Who got shot.
Yeah, he got
shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they're solid backs. I mean, Brian Robinson was really solid, I thought.
Yeah, they were kind of a nice little, like, team dynamic because they both kind of did a little bit of a timeshare.
And Antonio is really good just catching, and Brian's a little bit more of your typical running back.
Maybe they'll offload those guys now that they have Ekeler.
I mean, I could see them maybe getting rid of Antonio. I think his rookie deal might be up. Ekeler was really disappointing toward the end of the year. Dude, I told you about that trade I made with Isabel in our league, dude. trading away. Remember, guys, I traded Trevor Lawrence and Juju Smith-Schuster for Rashid Shaheed and Austin Ekeler. And honestly, I think I lost that trade. Austin Ekeler was horrible.
He was.
The season went on.
But at the time of the trade, I mean, that was like a ridiculous deal that you let happen.
Dude, listen, her quarterbacks were Mac Jones and Ryan Tannehill.
I mean,
come on.
Mac Jones is going to the Jaguars.
Together, I think they only started like 7 or 8 games total. Maybe a little bit more than that.
I mean, maybe she could have found someone off the waiver wire. I had to start I had to start a bunch of backups this year. I was starting.
That's what happens when you're in the 16-team leaguer.
Yeah, I know. It was worse last year when it was a 20-team leaguer.
I know. Jeez, yeah. We'll never do that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, we'll see what happens. But Ekeler really regressed this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, he did. But I'm just curious to see what the Chargers end up doing there, because he was also.
Kind of feels like Aaron Jones, maybe.
That would just be another wacky deal. I just feel like there's
These
more.
Guys gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, it just feels like there's more moves being made this offseason.
It's just like a carousel,
so quickly.
you know?
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew signs with the Raiders. I like this one. I really think that if they don't draft somebody, he will 100% be their starting quarterback. He's better than Jimmy G. He's better than Austin or Aiden O'Connell. Let's do that. Let's get his name right.
Yeah.
I think someone commented on our video last week about Aiden O'Connell.
They did, yeah.
They didn't like my draft pick. They didn't like me having them take Michael Penix.
No, the comment said, "We are not picking a quarterback first round. He's not better than Aiden right now." But I do think that Gardner Minshew is better than Aiden right now.
Yeah, so I wonder how that person now feels that they did take on a quarterback. This doesn't really rule out that they won't draft somebody, because it's not like Gardner Minshew's your long-term plan either. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know really what the Raiders' long-term plan is, though, because they just seem to be bringing on like these bridge quarterbacks like Jimmy G.
Maybe
obviously
they're waiting.
Not a long-term plan.
Maybe they're waiting for like themselves to just have like their 1-15, 1-16 season. And they can get the top draft pick, and then they get their next franchise QB.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing, but I like this for Gardner Minshew. I love that guy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he's going to have more opportunities to start, which here he most certainly will. You know, if he goes to another team, like when he went to the Eagles a few years ago, he was lucky to start a couple games, but that certainly was not going to be a normal thing when you're on a team with a franchise quarterback like that. But if he can keep bouncing around these, Colts, Raiders, these kind of middling teams with middling quarterbacks, he's going to keep having opportunities, and he's just such a baller. I love watching him play, and he's got a lot to prove. I know after that 4th down misconversion against the Texans that would have put him in the playoffs if they won that game.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, Xavier McKinney, the safety, signs a Packers 4-year deal. This is a good signing for the Packers, whose defense was pretty piss poor during the 2023 season. Obviously, it picked up toward the end of the year, but they gave up 30 points to the Panthers, which still just hangs in my craw because I took the Packers fantasy defense that year or that week, and they just completely shit the bed, giving up the most points to any Panthers effort of the entire year. Devin Singletary, the running back who was with Houston, previously with Buffalo, signs with the Giants. So I guess this is now who they are replacing Sequizler with.
Yeah. Oh, and Gus Edwards signed with the Chargers, so that's who the Chargers are. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
But neither of those feel like really long-term plans.
Again, just like a bridge solution,
for sure.
Temporary.
So Aaron Jones then maybe to the Texans or Ravens then.
Dude, I'd like to see him on the Texans. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd much rather see him go to the Texans than the Ravens, because they still have J.K. Dobbins floating around.
Or the Bills.
The Bills.
Oh no! Yeah, sorry,
James
I was
Cook
thinking.
Is pretty solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, Devin Singletary, I like this. This is fine, but I mean, man, the Giants are just gonna be so bad next year. I feel
they just don't have any stars on the team anymore.
They've been devoid of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
They got the Juan Diddler. That's all they got left. Wandale Robinson, Isaiah Hodgkins.
I did like Darren Waller though. Like I thought that was a great signing. Dude, I really thought that was gonna be good.
I feel like he would honestly probably be like their star player that they would show in like the.
But he was so disappointing this year.
I mean, yeah.
Injured, dropping balls, not making good efforts. I mean, he had some bad drops, I thought, this year.
Maybe he just didn't want to play on the Giants, so he's hoping
then just
they'd
don't
cut
sign
him.
there,
Yeah.
dude. You know what you're getting yourself into when you go to a team like that with Daniel Jones. You knew what was already there.
Dude, the Giants
So that
have got to
bothers
be
me.
like this year, like one of the worst teams in the league. Like they could have
Yeah,
like
I mean, going into it,
their franchise like worst season in a long time.
unless Daniel Jones just comes out here and goes absolutely insane,
There's
like
no
at
way.
Duke. I mean,
To who?
I don't see
Who's
it.
he throwing the ball to?
I mean, that's the thing, though. He's got to make it all work on his own. He's got to be throwing it to himself like Lamar did in the playoffs.
Dude,
I don't
that's
know.
the only way that they're winning games.
Yeah. All right, two more guys. Brian Burns, defensive end here, traded to the Giants for a second and a fifth-round pick on a 5-year deal here. This is actually a good signing for the Giants, but I just feel that they're kind of misbalancing. They're putting everything a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. You know, they have Kayvon Thibodeau and good pieces on the defensive side of the ball, but they really need to restock the coffers on the offensive side of the ball. And it's so depleted. It's just such a misbalance right now. It's so out of proportion.
Hopefully they won't be letting up these 40-point games to teams like
To
the
the Cowboys
Cowboys
again,
anymore. Yeah, so maybe if their defense is getting a little bit better, but they still just need to find a way to put up points.
Yeah, I mean, they're really feeling like the Steelers, but with like a 10 times worse offense. Like their defense will definitely be pretty solid, it seems, but it's hard to continue to play good defense throughout the game where you keep giving up points and points, or you can't score anything, rather.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Gus Edwards signs a 2-year deal with the Chargers, the previous Ravens RB, who had a really good year this year, very productive. Good to see this. I think he's better at this point than Austin Ekeler. Maybe not quite as good catching the ball out of the backfield and whatnot, but I really do like this move, although I don't think it's a permanent. I don't think he's a full-on RB1. It's a little bit of a stretch. In terms of starting running backs, he probably would be toward the bottom of the list for me. But hey, we'll see what happens. Maybe they're just going to turn into an air raid offense and just go absolutely nuts.
It's possible, although they really need a running back now because J.K. Dobbins obviously went out immediately.
Right.
I don't know if he's even going to be productive if he comes back. And
he always has been productive, but I mean his injuries has just been horrible.
Right.
So.
And then Keaton Mitchell, who was
he
very
was
productive,
solid,
but he got injured so many times.
Yeah, I know.
And so I don't know that he's going to be an answer for them either, which is a concern. So
you just make Lamar running back and then
that works.
have Zay Flowers throw you the ball.
Dude, yeah, whatever.
Because he clearly likes to, taunt and all that stuff. I'm not a Ravens fan, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Lamar's fine. Lamar's good, but Zay Flowers bothered me
Yeah.
in that playoff game when he taunted and
I'm sure he bothered
then
a lot of
fumbled on the
people.
next play.
Yeah.
Probably should let it go because he fumbled. I'm sure he feels pretty bad about it already. But
Oh, for sure.
all right, so those are all the major ones. Of course, Mitch Trubisky back to the Bills. That's probably the biggest, most flashiest signing. But yeah, we didn't include all the nitty gritty ones like that. But no, seriously though, Mitch Trubisky going back to the Bills, just such a goofy signing.
I don't like that one, dude. I just gives me a little bit of concern for my team here. If Josh Allen goes out, I've got to rely on Mitch Trubisky.
Well, you were relying on Kyle Allen before.
I would rather have Kyle Allen.
Would you really?
Dude, Mitch Trubisky blows. He's just
that's a fair point. Kyle Allen kind of balled when he was in Carolina for a while.
Yeah.
That was 2020 or 2019.
I'd rather have him.
I think the Panthers started 5-0 that year.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy to think that the Panthers were the number one seed for a little bit.
That
just
is
a few years ago.
That is quite wacky.
For a while, but then they lost the next 12 games.
Yeah.
Getting into our best bets review of last week. I'll let you go on with this one.
Okay. Yeah, last week we were Green Goblins in our podcast. Yeah. This week we're just kind of a little bit of a rainbow here. We've got one of every color. So Miami Heat at Dallas Mavericks. I had said unknowingly what the spread would be to take the Mavericks to cover the spread. The spread was -4.5, and the Mavs
You're
won
just
by
the
6.
blind squirrel, but the blind squirrel always finds the nut with you, dude.
Dude, I love that. That's honestly a surgical pick. I love picking these ones correct without knowing their spread.
That's insane, dude.
Because I did that, I think, twice the previous week, which was exciting. However, my next pick I did sadly get wrong. The Celtics and the Suns. I thought that the Suns would pull off a victory here at plus 183. They did not. They lost. I think they lost by 8 maybe. I think it was like 117, 109. I picked the wrong team for so the Celtics lost last week. They lost to the Nuggets, though, I think like the day before or maybe 2 days before. So it was unlikely for them to then drop to the Suns 2 games in the same week.
Good.
Right. I mean, when they only have, I think, 13 losses this season as a franchise.
Right.
If you're losing one in a week, it's unlikely you're going to lose another one.
For sure.
So that was a tough pick there. And then finally, so this is where it gets a little bit interesting here. So the Magic Conch, who is undefeated for basketball so far, said to hit the under for UNC at Duke. And now when I first checked this line, the line was not posted until Friday morning, okay?
Yeah.
And when I first checked it, it said 162.5. And I know that because
I can't believe that.
Dude, I wrote it on the doc right away.
I believe you, but that is absurdly high.
I know. It was high. And so I then checked just later, like that same evening, just to see, has anyone bet it? Has it changed at all? And I saw it was down to 150.5. And I was like, all right, there's no way that it moved down that much. So I've
never seen a swing like that.
Right. So then I checked on it, and it said that the line opened at 150.5.
It's lying to you.
Dude, it has to be, because I know for a fact that it was 162.5. But even when I Googled it, it said, the line's always been 150.5. So that's just frustrating. So because
Did you dream this?
No, I did not dream it, bro. Because I wrote it on the doc. I wrote on the doc as soon as I saw it. I was in the zone.
I think it had to have been some sort of mistake on their part, because there's no way that the betting would have leaned it all the way down to 150.
No, it absolutely didn't. I know what you mean. It probably, maybe they just accidentally put the 162.5 one game above the thing it was supposed to be, in the app, whatever game followed. Right. Maybe that was the over under.
I guess that would have been more of a sharper line though, because
it
finished at 163. That would have been sharp as hell.
Oh, did it finish at 163?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right, well then I guess it's not even a yellow square, because
unless I'm tweaking, 84 plus 79. Yeah, that's 163.
No, it's not. Oh yeah, it is. It is. You are right. Okay. Well,
so a surgical line, but the under would not have hit then.
No, I guess it would not have. Well, that is my bad. I thought that it still would have hit, but evidently it did not. So it's still a red X.
We're just absolutely flustered at this line movement.
Yeah. Well, then your over-under prediction was closer to what it actually was here, because you said 147.5.
Right.
Which was,
yep.
And so if the line truly did open, 150.5, you're setting a good line here.
Yeah, I like that.
And then you had Duke minus 7.5. I think they were either minus 4.5 or minus 5.5. Yeah, I don't remember.
CBS says 5 here.
Okay, yeah. So another one, good pick, and then they won by what exactly 5?
No, they lost
by 5.
So Vegas was a little sharper than I was here, whereas I was sharper than Vegas the last couple times, but it's still pretty close to what it would have been.
Right.
I just thought Duke would have been much more favored based on how they've been playing lately, and also being at home, but. There were some road wins this past weekend, that really kind of threw out what I've been saying, that the road team has really struggled this year.
For college football?
Yeah, or college basketball. I mean, obviously that will all change going to neutral sites here for these conference tournaments and the big dance itself. But yeah, some crazy stuff there. We'll find a new game to toss the bet on. We'll see one that is confirmed, because obviously a lot of the games are TBD right now with the brackets going through the college tournaments and all that. But
we could do Cornell at Yale for the Magic Conch.
Yes, we could do that one.
Yeah.
Let's go to your best bets, though, that you have already locked in.
Yeah, I've got 2 best bets again this week. We're going to blindly pick another spread. Hopefully it comes through for us. I'm going to take the Cleveland Cavaliers to cover the spread against the New Orleans Pelicans on Wednesday this week. So the Cavs have been really solid all season long. Really like what they've been doing. New Orleans Pelicans just leave a salty taste in my mouth, man. Salty taste, because I bet on them so many times, and I swear every time they do, it's like Zion Williamson is 1 point short of what I needed him to, or honestly, they just get blown out when I bet on them to cover a spread or to win a game.
Pelicans have been disappointing.
I don't like the Pelicans, so I am going to say the Cavs are going to cover the spread. They're against the Pelicans when the Pelicans are at home here. I think that the Pelicans are going to then get an extra couple points thrown their way, so it will lessen the spread that is really the true spread if it would have been on a neutral site, which I think the Cavaliers will cover here. So I like that pick a lot.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go and take Oklahoma City money line against OKC money line in the Dallas Mavericks at OKC Thunder this Thursday. OKC has been really solid this year, bro. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I swear he knows his points line before every single game.
Really?
He always goes over by 1 point.
No way. That's
if it's
hilarious.
31 and a half, he gets 32 points. He is so surgical, I swear. He just he loves to cover those things.
He just hits the over and he's like, I'm good.
Dude, exactly.
Take me out.
He loves it, bro. He loves to
That's
just make
sick.
sure the fans always he covers his lines
love that.
for the fans. Yeah. But I mean, he's just been so productive, and with them at home here, I think that he will outperform Luka in this game, which might be a bold statement to make because Luka has been playing out of his mind. But I really like the Thunder here at home against the Mavericks.
Good stuff, yeah. Those all sound good to me. I like the Cleveland pick a lot.
Thank you. And
all right.
Magic Conch, are we going to rip Cornell at Yale?
We can rip Cornell and Yale, although I do believe it's going to be a neutral site game. Let's see, where do they play the Ivy tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball tournament. It's played in New York. Ivy Madness is what it's called.
Ivy Madness in New York, but it's not at Cornell's stadium?
No, it's Columbia University's Levian Gymnasium in New York City.
Oh, Columbia.
Yeah,
they're
Columbia
not even playing in it
University.
this year.
Yeah, so I guess maybe it changes, but it's a neutral
interesting.
site. It's a neutral site for sure. All right, I'm going to just make my spread prediction like I usually do. I just put myself in my virtual darkness room and thought long and hard about it. I'm going to go with Cornell minus 2.5.
Cornell's going to be favored, even though they're the 3 seed?
I think Cornell will be favored. They beat Yale recently. Yale lost the final game of the season in overtime. The Brown, they lost 3 of 5. Let's see here. Oh no, they lost 3 of 6. Okay. Of their last 6 games. So I think Cornell just is coming in with a little bit more momentum. They beat Yale more recently. I know Yale beat them at Yale earlier in the season, but it was only by 2 points. And granted, Yale only lost to them by 3 points. So the margins here are super slim, but Cornell played Princeton really well recently, only losing by 2. Whereas Yale kind of got slapped around by Princeton. They lost by 11 when they played them.
Dude, this could actually be a surgical line.
Yeah, this is going to be very tight. So I'm going to go with 2.5.
I like that.
I like 2.5. I have no idea on the over-under, though.
No idea?
No idea.
You don't want to proffer a suggestion?
See, I'm just going to make a goof of myself.
You're not a goof. Bro, last week you were within 3 points.
All right. Let me zone in on this. You talk about what the Conch said.
I will. Well, the Conch has not been asked yet. We gotta ask it right now. All right, Magic Conch, what's the play for the Cornell at Yale men's basketball game this weekend? Oh man, the Conch is feeling a little finicky. I gave it a bad swing.
He's excited.
All right, here we go. Why is the Conch loud?
Oh my God,
Dude,
the Conch
is decisive today. It immediately hopped on underdog. But I don't feel like that was a true spin.
That's not good.
I'm telling you, I really don't think that was a true spin. All right, I'm just gonna try and get this one more time here. I think the pendulum was too tight. All right, we're gonna go one more time here.
Come on, Conch.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. I think we might just have to say underdog because it's.
Oh, there we go. That was a good spin.
It's it's getting stuck, dude.
Oh, dude, it wants the underdog.
I guess we're just
gonna
have to
listen to
put
it.
Underdog. Well, maybe Cornell will end up being underdogs, but I don't think
hopefully.
it's likely. All right. Well, I guess maybe Cornell can win by 2, and then and then it'll still be fine.
Right.
All right. Well, so we'll go with that. I need to fix the Magic Conch. She, I don't know what's going on with the Conch today.
All right, I'm zoning in on my over-under pick. I'm zoning in. Their first meeting ended at 158, whereas their second meeting was only 127.
Oh my. So
Right?
maybe you're going to split it the difference, go with like a 139? And I guess a little more than that.
Oh, man, this is extremely difficult. It's neutral site, so we got to go higher. We're going to go 147.5 again.
Again?
I like it. That's a good, cute little number for me.
Okay, I'll take that. Meanwhile, I'm really going to need to try and fix the Conch, dude. This is frustrating me. I normally, like, the Conch likes to ruminate about it, and she thinks for, like, a good, like, 5 to 10
The
seconds.
screw.
Well, yeah, the screw's always, like, sticking out of the
always like
bottom
that?
like that. Yeah, because if I tighten it all the way, then the pendulum, like, falls, like, it immediately is stuck on the wood. Oh, there you go.
It's like you got to hold the stem a little bit stiffer. Now it likes the over.
Now it likes the over. Maybe we just offer up both this week.
The Conch's 2 ideas?
Yeah,
Okay.
the over and the underdog.
We could do that.
Okay, we'll toss them both in there. Conch, don't let us down here.
Might as well, since I came up with predictions for both.
Yeah, I like that. That'd be perfect. All right, good stuff.
All right, so yeah, 147.5 is my formal prediction.
Good
This
stuff.
is not till Saturday, guys, at 1 p.m.
And you said the over, right? Or yeah, the Conch said the over. Okay.
Yeah.
Yale to cover the spread and the over.
Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time. Brown and Princeton play at 10 a.m. Wow.
Wow, they're getting up early.
Yeah, for real. Those are the only 2 games actually currently slated for Saturday. Everything else is TBD.
Wow, that is
I'm sure
crazy.
there'll be a ton more games, but those are the only 2 listed so far.
For sure.
Let's get into our fan mail from none other than your dad.
I know, dude. He's our most
I know.
supportive listener.
I'm glad that he wrote in again. I was a little worried that he wasn't going to.
Dude, he did, yeah. So he thinks the Chargers are going to take none other than Joe Alt, the not tight end, the offensive lineman from Notre Dame here. He says that Jim Harbaugh likes O-line. Now, what do you think about this pick?
Well, it definitely seems more likely now that the Chargers signed Will Disley, like you told me before we got on.
We both thought that Brock Bowers was going to go to the Chargers.
I mean, I don't mind this at all. I mean, it makes sense for sure, but I could still see them switching it up. But this is honestly probably the favorite to take for the Chargers at this point in the game here. Because now they have Will Disley. I think Gerard Everett will still be on their team.
Yeah.
And then your dad has a very bold claim.
Dude, this
here.
is too bold.
Is humongous.
Yeah, this is honestly, I think this is a little bit egregious take. Sorry, Pops. I'm not a big fan of this one. You wanna share what he's got to say here?
The Bears will pass on Caleb Williams and trade the pick again. They only have 5 picks in this draft, which is a good observation. I didn't think about that. Ryan Poles, the GM, likes to build through the draft. I just don't think they will pass on the first pick again in such a quarterback-centric draft class. Legendary, generational talent Caleb Williams is not someone you could pass on. You could look really bad if you pass on him and he goes on balls. I mean, there was already that bad look. They passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson many years ago. I know it's a different staff, but it's still the Bears, same ownership. I just don't see it happening again here.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I really don't see that happening, although it's more likely that it happens now after the Falcons have signed a quarterback here.
I just don't think that should affect the Bears' long-term plan. It might affect what you can get for Justin Fields by trading him, but I don't think that it should affect their plan.
Yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't. I was just like, in terms of evaluating like my dad's thoughts here, I was just like, a week ago when he said this to me, I was like, I mean, there's no way. Like, Justin's going to be going to the Falcons. Like, I was like so confident Justin's going to the Falcons and like
certainly
they're going to draft
that
Caleb.
way.
Yeah, but so now there's a chance like.
Did your dad add like $20 million to the Kirk Cousins offer to make that happen, to push that through?
Dude, yeah, that's exactly what he did. He just so that our pod or his prediction for our pod could come true.
The Falcons receive an anonymous donation from Illinois man.
I love that.
$20 million donation.
That's hilarious, bro.
Dedicated to Kirk Cousins.
I can tell you right now, he's going to be cackling up a storm when he hears you say that.
Well, I hope so. This next one's interesting. Brian Thomas Jr. would be his pick at wide receiver. Let the Bears trade down again at 9. Yeah, I definitely think they could trade down and still get Brian Thomas Jr. A little bit later in the draft. So I don't mind that one at all. I would prefer, though, Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze over Brian Thomas Jr., but they're all so tight. I honestly think that Brian Thomas could be just as good, if not better, than Rome Odunze. But I do really like Malik Neighbors. Like, if Malik Neighbors is there, you have to take him.
Right.
We all know Marvin Harrison's going to be gone. So we'll see. I mean, there's just so many receivers that it's so nebulous where they all will end up landing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that one's a good pick, though. I could see that possibly happening. And yeah, the Bears could use another wide receiver. Darnell Mooney, we've already talked about, is not a.
They definitely
not really
need somebody. That 9 pick will have to go to a receiver in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but like a DJ Moore and across from Roma Dunze or Brian Thomas Jr., that would be a nice little combo.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I would like that.
Although I talked to a buddy of mine over the weekend, and he likes the Bears trading for Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. And who knows, they could even trade for T. Higgins now that he's requested a trade from the Bengals.
That would be something else.
I would love T. Higgins, but I just don't see. I think he's too valuable for the Bears. The Bears need a little bit more a softer talent like Deontay Johnson. T. Higgins is just a little bit too much, I think, in terms of like DJ Moore being there, maybe them drafting somebody as well.
Why? You think he's too talented? I mean, they could have...
No, I just feel like T. Higgins has to be a number 1 receiver somewhere. Like, he wants to get paid like a number 1 receiver, and he needs to go in there being the big alpha dog.
I mean, he was never the big alpha dog here in, like,
that's what
Cincinnati.
I'm saying, but he's talented enough to be one. He could definitely be one.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him make some incredible throws. I mean, he was clearly Jake Browning's favorite target, it felt like, for some of those games. Jamar Chase was getting shafted a little bit.
Yeah.
And T. Higgins was playing very well. I mean, I remember against Minnesota when he caught the ball. The ball was so underthrown, he came back to get it from Jake Browning and then extended his arm all the way out across the goal line.
Yeah.
I remember that vividly. It's ingrained into my memory. So he's super talented, and it just seems like it would be too much big doggery.
Big doggery.
Them to be with DJ Moore. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Deontay Johnson feels a little bit more like a fit.
I mean, I would like to see the Bears just add on another receiver here, and they could become a powerhouse with actually having some offensive weapons. And
I mean,
excitement.
If they have DeAndre Swift, T. Higgins, they could definitely be one of the most dangerous offenses in the league.
Yeah, plus DJ Moore.
I mean, it could happen. Because if they get Caleb Williams, I mean, they're going to be paying him nothing. I mean, he's going to be number 1 pick. He'll be making a couple $1 million, but it won't be anything like, even Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen in terms of these $40 million plus deals.
That's probably the move.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening. Very exciting stuff overall. But that is all we have for you guys on this episode of the pod. Next week, we'll be doing our brackets because it'll be after Selection Sunday. So very exciting times coming up here.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, they're going through all the conference tournaments now in college basketball, so we'll see how those all pan out. And then, it'll be very exciting to get into the nitty-gritty of some bracketology.
Yeah, dude, and I think that we're even going to have to make a Conch-generated bracket, assuming the Conch wants to
participate.
Yeah, she's looking a little sad over there, looking a little flaccid.
I guess I misgendered her. Maybe that's why I called her a him earlier.
Yeah.
I hate to do that. I mean,
no, it's
unless
okay.
she's gender fluid,
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. Bit flaccid right now. The pendulum's a little bit soft.
Yeah, we need a little bit more life out of that.
Yeah.
Get that libido up a little bit. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys or listening. Maybe you watched on YouTube. It would be a little boring to watch just our logo. But anyways, we'll see you next week. Bye now.